Rod, if you're free, I have an extra ticket to the Warriors and Oil Kings game in Moose Jaw tonight if you want to join me. I would love to, but I can't. To quote Sammy Seafood Sam, I'm busy.
How about that?
Where's Seafood Sam? Moved to Calgary. He's busy.
Yeah.
But thank you, Glenn.
Muna.
Big shots.
Sitting up there with the Russian national coach at the press conference.
Guy ran a seafood restaurant in Saskatoon, okay? His name was Seafood Sam. That was the name of the restaurant, and the Saskatoon Blades would bring him down to coach the All-Star or the intra-squad game, and he'd start brawls. And
I remember hearing the story about Daryl Lubanicki. They told the guys no more fights, and so all of a sudden there's a fight, and then they drop the puck, and then there's another fight. And there's another.
He's coaching the intra-squad.
One kid had fought 3 times, so Daryl Lubanicki said, "I'm going to put an end to this." And he walks around the rink, and he comes over to the kid who's had 3 fights, and he says, "What in is going on around here?" And the kid says, "That Chinese guy keeps sending me out to beat out of that." So he had to go to this Seafood Sam, who was this little 5'2" Chinese fellow who owned the local restaurant.
Seafood Sam's.
And tell him to knock it off.
No more fights.
How about that? Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
This former producer of major market television shows writing into us anonymously to say he just found our show on Game Plus Television. Here's some tips. The show has ADD. It's all over the place. Your sound effects are annoying. And your host is arrogant. Right on all counts. But that's what we want. That's what we wanted it to be.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
I got to tell you, hey. Director Jordan, producer Clark, they're coming in hot into a Monday with these intros and the pre-show. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show on a Monday. It's episode number 1346 of your favorite daytime sports talk show here across Canada on Game Plus Television and in 31 U.S. states on the radio, WQEE in Atlanta. And, of course, our streaming partner is YouTube. I'm in the South Florida studio where it's game day. Let's bring the Moose in. He is in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Nice shirt, Moose, as we recognize National Reconciliation Day, Orange Shirt Day. I'm halfway there. I was a little surprised that you didn't wear Titans today, but you know what? Obviously, this is a movement that's far more important to you than the winless Tennessee Titans. So, yeah, he's got his Every Child Matters shirt on for those that are maybe listening on the radio or not watching the video feed right now. That's me and Moose. The guests are 2 of my favorite CFL people ever, Canadian Football League people ever. Paul LaPolice from the CFL on TSN, longtime coach. He will be with us in hour 1. And Chad Owens, aloha, as he likes to say, the Flying Hawaiian, Hall of Famer, Grey Cup champion. He'll be with us in hour 2. I just love that guy. And that's the guest. Can you hit the Quick Six Show horn, please, Director Jordan? And then we'll go. And then if you don't mind, Darren, we're diving right into the pool because we got a lot to get to. I will say this. I want to thank my guy, Brent Waltman. Brent from Wellington, Florida, had us over to his house yesterday. If you watched my Instagram story, you'll see, Darren, that's where the gates were, like the entrance to South Fork in Dallas, opening, and the big steak and the beautiful, it was nice. It was nice. And he told me that his people, they'll be watching right now in Miami in his office, they're really enjoying the show, and they're liking the more NFL talk that we're bringing to the program, Moose. They're liking that just around here in the United States, but we are also on the air in Canada too, so we still have our Canadian sports as well. So we had some very nice words from folks over the weekend. But we're going to start with the NFL. Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings were the biggest surprise in the NFL in September. Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars were the biggest disappointment. NFL teams spend the first month of the season establishing their identity. Some figure it out faster than others. Week 4 was filled with prove-it games for many teams across the league. The Vikings, Ravens, Bucks, and Commanders were among teams up for the challenge, winning on Sunday, while the Jaguars, Eagles, Jets, and Browns were on the opposite end of that, all coming up with losses and having to explain themselves today. So what did you think of Week 4 Sunday in the NFL?
Yeah, you know, to be honest, I was watching in a day when my Titans aren't playing. I can watch Red Zone and try and, excuse me, dive into everything that's going on. And you're right. There were a lot of statements were made. You know, I thought that your boy Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers made a statement. I thought the Philadelphia Eagles made a statement of the wrong kind that did not look good on film if you are Philadelphia. And then everybody's coming out of the weekend talking about Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. And they are the it team right now. 16 straight possessions scoring. They're making jokes about, where's the punter? Because he's only punted 4 times all season. They have been the story of the year so far.
It was a fun Sunday of football. I'll say this, Brent on his mammoth screen at his palatial estate in Wellington, Florida, which it actually is that. It's not a joke like we used to say about Lynch and his palatial South Regina estate. Now, we're at Brent's estate, and he had this TV split in 4 screens, and I almost had a panic attack because I was like, my ADD can't handle this. So they whittled it down to 2 screens. I'm like, I can handle that. But one of the games we were watching was Arizona-Washington. And you're right. Jaden Daniels is all that. He's the it boy through the first month. But you understand, not all of this is going to like Sam Darnold, Jaden Daniels. Who's going to be left standing in the end? They're both in the NFC, so it's not like they're going to meet in the Super Bowl. Maybe the conference championship. But I'll remind everybody, advise them to pump the brakes. The Commanders are 2-2, same as my Dallas Cowboys, and let's get a hold of ourselves. Now, we're going to come back to the NFL later on in the Quick Six show topics because they're calling it a doubleheader, but it's not a doubleheader. Tennessee at Miami, as we talked about earlier. I should just say that's our poll question. They kick off at 7:30 Eastern at Hard Rock Stadium. No, I'm not going to the game tonight. I got a hockey game to go to. But this is, we'll talk more about the games later on here in the warm-up. I'll just say it could be a franchise-defining game because what they're saying, Darren, is if Will Levis soils it for your Titans, this could be the last game he ever starts. And if the Dolphins don't do something with Snoop Huntley, who is that veteran quarterback that the Dolphins had to go out and sign because of injuries to QB1 and QB2, if they lose, somebody might get fired. Somebody's got to lose. So for me, our poll question is, which is the sexier of the 2 games? It ain't even close, Dolphins-Titans, but leading the poll with over 70% of respondents is the Seattle Seahawks at the Detroit Lions. 3-0 Seahawks at the 2-1 Lions. I'm flabbergasted that's leading the poll in the early going, but maybe I shouldn't be. You?
Yeah, I think for you and I, there's so much intrigue around this Tennessee-Miami game, but I think for the rest of the world, they're kind of looking at this thinking, okay, these 2 teams are not in it. They're not in the mix. It's week 4. And they're out. They're out. So, Seattle and Detroit are 2 playoff caliber teams, full of stars, full of playmakers. They're going to make plays. It's going to be great. But I'm really looking forward to this Tennessee-Miami game. You know what? This could be a spark for one of these teams to turn it around. It doesn't happen often. But, I think both games are going to be great tonight.
And I won't be watching either one, and I'll explain why in a second. But I'll just, as Darren just said, this game pertains to he and I, Miami, Tennessee. But everybody else is excited about the Lions and the Seahawks. It's been a lifetime of swimming upstream for me, going against the grain. It's exhausting after a while, just being the different one. But as my really close friends have said to me, it's why you have a show. You're different from everybody else. That's why people tune in. So there's that. Paul LaPolice and Chad Owens coming up on this Monday. Trust me, CFL fans, you're all writing in. We'll get to you. Wait your turn. Point 2, 38-year-old of Jenny Malkin scored 3 goals and added a helper as the Pittsburgh Penguins beat the Ottawa Senators 5-2 in NHL preseason action in Sudbury. It was a Sudbury Sunday night Kraft Hockeyville game, right, Moose?
Yeah,
Sidney Crosby had 2 goals for the Penguins, while Brian Rust and Chris Letang chipped in with 2 assists each. Nick Cousins and Tim Stützle scored for Ottawa. Meanwhile, in Denver, Dylan Genther had 2 goals and an assist as the Utah Hockey Club rolled the Colorado Avalanche 6-3. Tell me if I'm on track with this, Darren, if I have this right. Us hockey fans, let's call ourselves pundits because we have a TV show across Canada talking about it every day. We'll dissect and break down the preseason games 6 ways from Sunday, and then as soon as the preseason's over, rumple it all up like a ball and throw it in the wastebasket and move on to the regular season. It'll be like it never even happened, the month of September. Am I right?
Yeah, you nailed it. We break this down, and for good reason. There's a lot of things that happen that are great. Matvei Michkov is racking up points and scoring overtime winners and looks like he's all that for Philadelphia since coming over early. There's things like that. You mentioned Dustin Wolf and how he plays. That matters. But you're right. As soon as we get to the regular season, we're going to forget the preseason existed. None of it's going to matter. We're going to say, well, that was preseason. That doesn't matter. That doesn't count. Show me what you got in the regular season. And you're right. We're going to forget about it. But for now, yeah, very exciting.
It's just what you do. And it's just taken me a little while to kind of get my mind around it. Because as I was saying to Brent and his gal Bree yesterday, and Serena knows this because she's from Saskatchewan like me, it's really different coming from a place where everybody cheers for the same team. Everybody, right? You can walk into the Walmart, you can walk into the coffee shop, the gas station. Everybody's talking about one team. They're all pulling for the Riders, all 1 million people in that wonderful province, right? It's easy. Down here, everybody's got a different NFL team. Everybody follows a different league. Everybody's into something different. So it's taken me a while to get my mind around what people want. It's not just cracking the mic and talking about the Rough Riders every day for 2 hours. That's stiff. That was easy. Some people still can't figure it out, but you know what I mean? It was easy for me. Here, it's taken me a couple years, but I got it. Everybody's into something else, and then we come back onto what you and I are interested in, and it's this. And I have to say that this morning at Johnny O's Gymnasium, as I was pounding away, running my just 3 miles because of my painful bursitis, just 3 miles this morning, Moose. I was listening to NHL radio, and they had Bill Daly on there, Gary Bettman's number 2 man. And it was just a fascinating interview. That's why good guests are important. And Bill Daly said, there's an appetite amongst some teams to shorten the preseason. Tell me if this is, not everybody's playing 8 games. I know the Florida Panthers are playing 8 games, but some teams are playing 6. That seems a little weird to me, and I'm actually shocked the coaches aren't screaming bloody murder about that. The quote that I wrote down was, the teams are all over the map with regards to what they want for the preseason. So they'll talk about shortening it, but there's no consensus whether they should or not. No All-Star game this year, which we probably should have known, but slipped my mind because of the 4 nations face-off. And expansion, it's the usual. There's interest, but nothing's concrete right now. And there's that. But I guess the one thing is the injuries, right? Patrick Laine, William Nylander, Calvin Pickard got hurt the other night for the Oilers. That's not good. That's not good. But as far as these like tonight I'm going to the Panthers and the Lightning, meeting Brent at the game, and that's where I'm going to be tonight, watching the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm excited about this hockey game tonight, but that's my NHL report coming out of the weekend and this morning. What's yours?
Yeah, I kind of skimmed over a little bit of it, but the Kraft Hockeyville was great. And I got to applaud the Pittsburgh Penguins. You got a Kraft Hockeyville game in a neutral site. And, back in Sask, we saw those neutral site games in Regina and games in Saskatoon.
Pitiful.
And they were great.
Pitiful.
We went. But Pittsburgh brought their stars. Malkin was in the lineup. Crosby was scoring goals. They brought their guys. And I think that's all on the coach, recognizing, that this is a moment for the community. And I really applaud it. Claude Giroux was kind of a homecoming for him, kind of close to where he grew up in Northern Ontario, and the rest with Ottawa coming in. So I like when you can go here and at least play the game a little bit. And you got to get your team ready first and foremost. But I applaud the Penguins for bringing their stars to Sudbury.
I don't know. I don't think it is the coaches. And so you said the games were great. You're saying they were great because you are like me as a little kid falling in love with seeing the jersey. It was great that they brought the NHL. Yeah. Period. Yeah, but I remember Tampa Bay coming. I very clearly remember Tampa Bay coming and playing the Flames, being at the news conference where Brian Lawton, it was the year they drafted Victor Hedman in the first round, and he's like, yeah, we'll be playing all our guys. You'll have all the guys. Sell out the rink. None of them played. Steven Stamkos was seen playing blackjack at Casino Regina, and Rick Tocchet was asked about that at the morning skate, or maybe after the game, whatever. He's like, it's not my job to sell tickets. It's my job to evaluate a hockey team. So now, Bill Daly did discuss that today on the radio, and if Gordy Stellick and Scott Laughlin are watching right now, they could attest. Bill Daly goes, when they started doing these neutral site games, he was talking specifically about Kraft Hockeyville. He goes, it was a hard sell to get the teams to want to go. He goes, something's changed where now teams are knocking on the door going, we want to play in those games. And it reminds me a little bit of Touchdown Atlantic when I went out there to Moncton working for the CFL Alumni Association. It was the Alouettes and the Argonauts. It was awesome. Everybody was treated like rock stars. So I don't know what the early Moncton Touchdown Atlantic games were like, but that was fun that year. And all the various neutral site games we played with the hockey teams I've been with, they're awesome. I don't know why anybody wouldn't want to do that. But anyways, those were some of the comments that were made. Daniel writes in, he says, the Canucks are playing 6 preseason games. We're streaming on Facebook. Yeah, David, that is Joe's idea. Our business manager, Joe, he's Facebook streaming again. I feel like we're going back in time to the beginning. John Ohm, I feel bad for Patrick Laine. Just getting his groove in, and he gets this injury. That was Saturday night. I was at the Hurricanes-Panthers, and I saw the Darren Dreger tweet, and I'm like, but he'll be fine. It's not that debilitating of an injury. Scott in Vancouver says, Crosby played for the Penguins versus the Senators. Most of the preseason is for kids and vets just trying to make a roster spot. It shouldn't surprise me that Bill Daly would say teams are all over the map when it comes to the preseason, because what did we say? The Oilers don't care whether they win a preseason game or not. They're only dressing their, hey, Connor, do you want to play? Leon, do you want to play? And not this one, but maybe the next one. Okay. Flames are trying to rack up some wins because of confidence. Utah's trying to win every game because there's so much excitement in the market. Right? Every team's different. Canucks are playing 6 games. The Panthers are playing 8 games. This doesn't make what? Kind of shocking, to be honest with you, that's what's going on in the National Hockey League. But I digress. Okay, we have reached the break point. When we come back, CFL for you all. And some very exciting baseball stuff, too. And randoms. It's the warm-up. We're live on Facebook today, as well as YouTube, Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio down there in Atlanta, and, of course, Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
The 80s Club, live in Moose Jaw. Honeymoon Suite, along with a flock of seagulls. Men without hats. And spoons. All together for one night at Moose Jaw Event Center, Saturday, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at sastix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
RP Show warm-ups brought to you in part by Seat Giant. Stop paying U.S. dollars for games and concerts. Canadian-owned and operated with Canadians in mind. Super Bowl, college football, Taylor Swift, Justin Timberlake. They've got it all. Use the promo code RP Show for 15% off at checkout. Check them out now at seatgiant.ca. I'm in the South Florida studio. Moose is in Toronto. Not to recount the entire conversation yesterday before we go to the CFL stuff, but my guy Brent from Wellington, Florida says, I miss Johnny O's. I miss the background there. I missed everything going on. Johnny popping in randomly, the hot chicks working out over your shoulder, and I'm just like, can't please everybody. Got to please yourself. Ricky Nelson said it best, Darren, and I think this, our tech staff likes this, right? I can tell you, I don't mind sitting out in the Florida heat for 2 straight hours. This is nice, right? I like it.
Yeah, of course. It's good. Life is good, man. Yeah, we're good.
Everybody wants something else. My gosh, though, did he cook the best steaks, potentially, I've ever had. But he's a meat guy.
Whoa.
Okay. So CFL Week 17. That's why a lot of people came here today. As far as yours and my picks go, Darren, from the outset, I never really saw it as a competition, just so you know. I'm making my picks every week. I wasn't really trying to beat you, per se. Just trying to rack up as many as I could. Of the 4 games this weekend, I won 2 correctly, picked 2 correctly. You picked 2 correctly. So it was a push, as they say, in the gambling business. I'm just a couple of wins ahead of Darren. So Friday night, I'm at Cardinal Gibbons High School watching the Chiefs take on the Calvary Eagles. You probably saw my social media, stalking Duron Carter, taking photos of the game, checking the scores of the Winnipeg-Edmonton game. That was a laugher. It's like 35-3 at halftime or something like that. I Hey, I said last week, it's Winnipeg's world in the CFL. We're all just living in it. People got mad at that. I don't care if you're mad. That was the Bombers' 8th straight playoff. They've clinched to make the playoffs. They won 12 in a row against Edmonton. They kicked the snot out of them. I think Zach had 5 touchdown passes. Wasn't even close. Did you watch that game?
Only a little bit, enough to know that it wasn't close. But, I'm the opposite of you. I'm behind in our picks. So I am picking to try and beat you. So when you picked Winnipeg, I'm like, I guess I'm going to take Edmonton here to try and gain some ground. And I think Edmonton is still a decent football team, but they can't put it together right now. And I don't know if it's, the flip-flopping at quarterback, not sticking with Macbeth when Trey Ford came back from injury, but then not sticking with Trey Ford long enough and going right back to Macbeth. It just seemed that they don't have the Midas touch right now when it comes to the quarterback spot. It feels like they're messing it up a little bit on both sides, and now it's kind of do or die for Edmonton. So I won't make that mistake again.
Well, you didn't know, but it's just Zach has their guy. Maybe that adage is true. If you've got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. They can't decide between Macbeth and Trey Ford. Whatever. Winnipeg just mopped the floor with them 55-27. Now, listen, the upset of the week, I would think, was Hamilton at BC in overtime. Like, you talk about quarterback controversies. BC's that whole, nothing to see here. Meanwhile, Nathan Rourke's out apologizing again after the game for his poor play. The Ticats have won 4 in a row. They're the hottest team in the CFL, save for Winnipeg, and Hamilton won in overtime at BC, 32-29. What did I tell you? The Lions hadn't won at BC Place since July. There were 2-3 under Nathan Rourke. It's now 2-4. I didn't see that coming, but you picked that one right. But let me guess, it's just because you wanted to beat me and you saw I took me. Did you actually think Hamilton was going to win?
Well, I had a hope. Like, they had, in their 5 wins coming in, 3 of them were against Toronto, just 2 against the rest of the league. But Hamilton's been building some steam. And plug your ears, all the haters that are watching. But it kind of coincides with Chris Jones showing up, doesn't it? This turnaround in Hamilton. Their defense is cleaned up. They're playing better football. He's another voice in that room. And Bo Levi's playing better. There's a lot of good things going on in Hamilton. And, it's unfortunate for them that Toronto was able to squeak one out against Montreal. But Hamilton's playing well. So I didn't think it was that big of an upset just because of the way they've been playing.
Well, football, something about it. On the field and in the prediction game, it is the ultimate hindsight sport. Why didn't you run the ball in that situation? Well, because if the pass had worked, you wouldn't be asking me. Why didn't I go with BC? They hadn't won at home since July, and Hamilton was easy to say now.
Yeah.
From the audience, John Ohm says, I was at the Bomber game Friday night. Best Zach game ever. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says another Monday in the CFL story from the weekend is another dirty play by the Riders. Maybe it's your story, Jeff, but not ours. Daniel says, our BC Lions. Please don't talk about them. I know that's rhetorical. Of course you want us to talk about them. Jeremy in Winnipeg says, Chris Jones is a good coach and not a GM. It's probably very true. Like, you look at what's going on in Calgary, and the Stampeders were off, but Dave Dickinson is coach and GM. They tell me it's nearly impossible to do. Chris Jones couldn't do it. There's very few guys that can. Wally Wano did it with success. John Huffnagel did it with success. I do believe Don Matthews did it with success. You're talking about 3 of the winningest coaches of all time in league history. Special guys. And I'm not saying Dave Dickinson isn't or Chris Jones isn't, but they've proven it looks like you can't do it the way these guys have. Boom, not even done yet. Sask, Saturday. I did watch that game. I watched it on CFL Plus. Let's give the CFL some credit for their streaming platform that airs around the world and here in the U.S. It was flawless. Now, Saskatchewan beat Ottawa 29-16. They were favored to win, despite what Monty says it was the upset of the weekend. No, it wasn't Monty. He's watching in Saskatoon. He says that's the upset of the weekend here. No, when Sask's favored going in and then they win, that's not an upset. Look it up. But I'll say this, and we talked last week, Darren, on the show about style points. And fans want to see style points. They want to see you win and win convincingly and score nice plays. I'm not a believer in style points. Maybe that's a fan thing, and I don't think the coaches are either. Sask didn't dominate Ottawa. The scoreboard probably looks that way as a double-digit victory, but the Red Blacks fumbled it away. A lot of mistakes by the Ottawa Red Black. That's not the Riders' fault. People are going to sit here and think that I'm criticizing the Rough Riders. I'm not. Sask made almost no mistakes, and Ottawa made just enough mistakes to lose the game. And at this point of the season, with 3 games to go, Sask doesn't have to apologize for that. And their 7-game winless skid, Darren, don't matter now. Like, what do we always say? Rather it happen now than in the playoffs with any league. So maybe they got their stuff figured out. Do I think they're going to go romp to the Grey Cup? No. But BC doesn't appear to be a factor right now. Winnipeg is. That's where the road's going to go, to the Grey Cup, right? But anyway, Sask didn't dominate it. They made less mistakes, and for that, they get to celebrate a win. Deal or no deal?
I agree. I got a deal there. And, all roads are leading to a Saskatchewan-Winnipeg West final right now. Because you're right. Calgary's not there. Edmonton's not there. BC's not showing it right now. Today, all signs are pointing to a Saskatchewan-Winnipeg West final at Princess Auto Stadium. So, and the wins they're racking up now, snapping that, losing streak post-Labor Day, all of that, that's huge for confidence. Because now you've won a couple of games, you can put that in the past, and you can say, we're over that.
Yeah.
This is new. There's fresh air in the building, all those things. And, they played a pretty clean game. So credit to Corey Mace and that group. They're playing well. And this is the time that you want them playing well. So I still think Winnipeg, obviously, is the team to beat in the West. But the Riders are kind of starting to separate themselves as the second-best team in the division.
Also, don't forget, there are 3 weeks left in the zaniest season in CFL history. I've said that many times. Nobody's argued it. There's all these, it's like walking through a horror house of horrors. Pop! Somebody jumps out from around the corner. Didn't see that coming. That is this CFL season, right? So that there could still be, stick your hand in a bucket of, what is that? That could happen. Probably will happen. So just Rowdy Roddy, just when you think you got the answers, the football gods change the questions. By the way, Toronto, Montreal, you and I both picked the Alouettes. I don't know. Kirk in Toronto is watching currently on the Game Plus television network. He writes in, he says, "Hi, Rod. A CFL record was tied and a 151-year Argonaut record was broken with 8 field goals on a wild night at BMO Field. Hallelujah for Hyralahu." See if that passed the spell check. 8 field goals. But the Argos aren't apologizing for anything. I didn't see that one coming either. You?
No, I didn't. But you know what? Credit to Toronto. We said, they need to win these games against, teams in front of them. They got to beat the Montreals to show that, just to show themselves that they're capable of going in the playoffs and making some noise and getting back to a Grey Cup, which they have the talent on that roster to do it. And it was big because after Hamilton got the win, they end up keeping, I think it's a 4-point spread between them and the Ticats. This was a game when I, wrote my column last week. I didn't think Toronto was winning this one. And I kind of think that Hamilton, Toronto might be tied at the end of the year, and Hamilton owns the season series. That was a big win for Toronto. Big win.
Allie writes in, she says, happy Monday, RP, Moose and squad. Jeremy writes in, he says, what a win, what a game. Bama is still Bama. 17-year-old wide receiver Ryan Williams is the real deal. Oh, that's not my cousin Ryan Williams from Weyburn that was scoring the winning touchdown? That's another Ryan Williams? Who would think there'd be two guys with the name Ryan Williams? But there you go, CFL fans. That was a whole segment on Week 17 in the Canadian Football League. And by the way, Paul LaPolice is coming up next to talk about it a little more. Moose, I'll let you adjourn. Great stuff, man.
Yeah, you bet. We'll see you in a bit.
Smoke them if you got them. Our final topics here. Point 4, the visiting Miami Marlins beat the Blow Jays 3-1 Sunday to sweep a 3-game weekend series. And then they fired Skip Shoemaker, ending the 2023 National League Manager of the Year's 2-season stint with the Marlins. Point 5, the Seahawks will be looking to improve to 4-0 when they visit the 2-1 Detroit Lions in one of 2 NFL games tonight. In the other, the 1-2 Dolphins host the 0-3 Tennessee Titans here. That's our poll question, which is the sexier game of the two, and everybody's talking about the NFC game. And point 6, the Americans won the President's Cup for the 10th straight time Sunday in Montreal and did so with the largest win on the road. All of this is going on, and you're going to expect me to follow golf? Not a chance. Nope. But I did mention it for you. Paul LaPolice is next. The Flying Hawaiian, Chad Owens in hour 2. 2 of my favorite all-time CFL people on the show today. Nice work, Clark. We'll be right back here on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, streaming live on YouTube and Facebook today. Also Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Now the race is on and here comes pride in the backstretch. Celebrate 40 years of Sawyer Brown. Some girls don't like boys like me. With Shenandoah. You got to get me to the church on the Cumberland Road. Plus special guest George Fox. Saturday, October 26th, Moose Jaw Event Center. I'll take the dirt road. Tickets are on sale now at the Moose Jaw Event Center box office or online at sasktix.ca. 6 days on the road and I'm Sawyer Brown and Shenandoah live.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Sports fans, join the Rod Squad newsletter today. Stay ahead of the game with exclusive insights, updates, contests, and exclusive content delivered straight to your inbox. Sign up for free today at rodpedersen.com. Paul Lapolese joins us from the CFL on TSN. And Lapo, I'm going to start with this as we come out of Week 17. I feel this is the zaniest season in CFL history in terms of crazy things happening. You agree with me?
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of weeks ago, they said, oh, let's pick the most outstanding player in the CFL. 2 weeks ago, they asked me to do that on the panel. And I was like, okay, that's not easy. I think it's going to take the last 4 weeks to decide who is the most outstanding player. Then this past week say, oh, tell us who your CFL All-Stars are. And I was like, oh, my God. Like, it's still up in the air on who's the best quarterback in the CFL, who brings the most. And then who's going to win the Grey Cup? You know, obviously we understand Winnipeg is at an elite level. Montreal's played at elite level, but they've had a couple losses. So it looks like there's one team that's performing like Montreal did, Winnipeg last year, and there's another one, Hamilton's performed pretty well. But besides that, everybody else has a chance, except for the couple of teams, will be out, and we still don't know who will be out. So it is a crazy year. It's great that there's a lot of games in conference too down the stretch, Rod.
And that part they always get right. The final third is always interdivisional. It's like you guys battle it out amongst yourself, but it's like 3 different seasons. The Riders were 4-0, 5-1. Then they're unbeaten in 7. Now they're getting their act together. Bombers started 0-4. You knew everybody was ready to light the stadium on fire. Now look at them. Like, that's the thing. You've coached in this league so long. It's a long-ass season, right? You got time to figure it out.
And I think comparable to, you think about the NFL when, you see the stats, there's no teams at 0-2 have ever won the Super Bowl, or no teams at 0-3 have made the playoffs. It's really interesting. I was looking at that yesterday. Yeah, you just have to have an understanding. I did a study when I was the head coach to educate the players. Like, if you want to get first place, you have to have at least one 5-game win streak. And I remember that was, I think, our 2011 season where we won. We started out 7-1, and we had a 5-game win streak, and that put us in a position to win first place. So you have to go on a stretch where you win a bunch of games, and obviously obviously Winnipeg's done that, Montreal's done that, even Ottawa went on a stretch winning a bunch of home games. So that's why they're still in contention for second place. So you have to play consistent football at some point through the season to put you where you need to be.
You are a offensive guy, so please tell me what you're seeing out of Nathan Rourke. 2-4 since he came back.
Yeah, there's a number of things. It sometimes is a team game. I think defensively, they, you can't let Bo Levi Mitchell go 20. Nathan Rourke's not on the field when they go 25-26 or whatever. Bo Levi Mitchell, so we can't pin it all on Nathan. But they just don't. They're not staying on the field like they used to with Nathan Rourke. You get first down after first downs on first down. So they're struggling to make completions. And I think they've struggled a little bit with their pass protection. They've struggled to protect him long enough. It doesn't matter whether it's Nathan or somebody else, it's going to be difficult. And you'll hear me talk about on a SportsCenter hit this week that maybe it is time to give Vernon Adams an opportunity. He's got the mobility to help if the pass protection is breaking down. And he certainly was playing. He was the MOP candidate after 5 games, just like anything else. Now it's maybe, is it Bo Levi Mitchell? There's so many. Is it Brady Oliveira? There's so many different people. But Vernon Adams did some good things. Maybe it's just a chance for the BC to do a reset and give him an opportunity.
You think that? Hey, don't just slip that in there. You think they might do that? Nice try, Lapo.
I think that, I think it should be a conversation. And again, Rick knows what he's doing and he'll handle what he needs to. But there are times that Scott Milanovic sat down Bo Levi to go, hey, we got to take a look at what somebody else can do. Now they give him an opportunity again. Because of injury, he's been spectacular. So, maybe a chance to get Vernon some opportunities can help. But no, I think, they got to play better up front. They got to run the ball better. They got to do a lot of things just to help Nathan. It's not all on Nathan. And defensively, like I said, they really struggled stopping Bo down the stretch last week.
Tell me what's popping with you, and not just what you're doing on CFL, on TSN, but on social media with your breakdowns and that kind of things. And let's get into that a little bit here, because I know the fans would really enjoy it. Maybe they don't all know about it.
Yeah, so I do. So I try to do like at least 2 or 3 coaches' playbooks a week, where I kind of take somebody and break down what happens in the course of a game. So I know I'm going to break down Zach Claris's 6 touchdowns to start. And I'm going to make sure I take a look at some of the stuff the Riders did from a takeaway standpoint. So I usually post those, kind of break down, use the coach's film, and kind of explain that information, kind of like, this is what happened, this is the why. Just like if I was doing, in TSN, the problem with TV, you only have 10 seconds to speak or 30 seconds to talk, where I can do a little bit more long form content. So for the football fans that really want to learn about the game, you can post that. I post those in my YouTube channel, Paul LaPolice. You can watch those. But it's going to be a fun down the stretch. I can't wait, like the games down the stretch, to figure out. I can't tell you how crazy it is. The West, the East is going to be the first time we might get a crossover from the East, Rod, over to the West. Might be the first time in history. So it's going to be a great finish down the stretch.
I meant to bring this up with Darren earlier. I'll bring it up with you. I can't remember where I heard this phrase. Nobody knows anything. And I'll never forget it. I think it was in the book by Ari Gold, because like a month ago, I turned to somebody and said, do you actually think there might be a crossover from the East? They're like, no. Why are we even talking about it in August? Because you never know. And now here we are.
Yeah.
Now, that single point Sask got in Ottawa might be enough to not only get them home field, but for sure clinch a playoff berth, right? Because they got to have more points than the third place team, right? The fourth East has to have more points than the third place. Yeah.
Yeah, the Eastern team, doesn't matter whether they won both games, they have to have more points for them to cross over. But like the weird part is Calgary struggled this year, and I think they've been to the playoffs since 2003. So this will be the first time they don't go. So then you take Edmonton possibly out of the mix, and then you get a bunch of teams in the East to 1 game. So it is going to be, you're going to have Ottawa, Toronto, Hamilton all vying to compete with that, whoever comes out of this third spot in the West. So it'll be interesting to watch down the stretch. But Bo Levi Mitchell's been tremendous. Brady Oliveira. Winnipeg is, hats off to Osh. You knew Osh was going to, I talked to him a couple weeks ago about what are you trying to do? He goes, same as we do every week, trying to get better, trying to play games. We didn't change anything when we were 0-4. We just tried to educate the players what we're doing wrong and continue to stay the course.
And away they go. Winners of, what is it now, 7 in a row, I think? And no reason to think that they're slowing down. Okay, Lapo, we'll let you get back with your day. Thanks for the time on here, man. Always good chatting with you.
Thanks, Rod. Appreciate it. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. The CFL on TSN's Paul LaPolice. When we come back, the sports update, viewer takeover, Moose returns in hour 2, and CFL great, and now Hall of Famer Chad Owens will be with us. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Facebook and YouTube live today, and also Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Okay, here we go. The studio is here in Boca Raton, Florida. And if you want to reach us in said studio, 902-518-3033 or the YouTube chat. I guess we're on Facebook Live today. I don't have access to that, but if you are, thanks for tuning in and making us part of your day. Oh, thank God Navy Dawn is being paid by Canada because you love Canada so much. Reason being, the poll question today is what's the sexier game in the NFL tonight, Monday Night Football? There are two, and it's not a doubleheader. Staggered kickoff, 7:30 Eastern here in Miami. The Dolphins are home to the Tennessee Titans, 8:50 in Seattle at Detroit. Don writes in, he says, Lions versus Seahawks is because they are close to Canada. There's no wrong answer to that. There's no wrong answer to that. Clearly, you know what I voted for, but I'm not even going to be at the game or watching the game. I'll be at the Panthers and the Lightning tonight. There are other sports, too. There This is very exciting in baseball. The New York Mets moved within one win of a playoff berth with a 5-0 victory over the Milwaukee Brewers on Sunday. And the Mets are playing a doubleheader against Atlanta today, needing at least a split to secure an NL wildcard berth. The Braves will also get a berth with a split or a sweep, while the Arizona Diamondbacks need one of the teams to sweep to move on after ending their regular season with an 11-2 rout of the San Diego Padres. So the first pitch in that one in Atlanta is at 1:10 Eastern, Braves and Mets. And then the outcome affects 3 teams, at least, probably more. That's exciting stuff. At least to me it is. How about the curling? For the curling fans, Mike McEwen earned a measure of revenge, and Rachel Holman was a repeat winner in curling's Points Bet Invitational on Sunday in Calgary. McEwen beat Brad Gushue 8-3 in a rematch of the Canadian Men's Championship final back in March when McEwen represented Sask, and Gushue prevailed to win. Rachel Holman defeated Kayla Skurlik 8-3 in the women's final at Winsport Arena, where Rachel also won a national women's title in the Scotties 7 months earlier. So the curling season is underway. There are 9 games on the NHL's preseason schedule tonight, including in Calgary and Edmonton. The Oilers host the Vancouver Canucks, while the Seattle Kraken visit the Flames. Last night, the Pittsburgh Penguins got 3 goals and an assist from Evgeny Malkin to beat the Ottawa Senators 5-2 in Sudbury, Ontario in the Kraft Hockeyville game. Do you remember, Clark, and I don't feel bad if you can't, the name of the town that won that game? They beat out Wolseley.
Oh, no.
Something Lake. Yeah, it's all good. That's how much we care. Yeah, Saskatchewan lost. We've never won the Kraft Hockeyville Tour. We're never, ever going to give up. That's not what we do in Saskatchewan. But that's what spawned the sports dinner that I'm going to be going up to Wolseley for in just a few weeks' time. Wolseley didn't win the Kraft Hockeyville contest, but kind of got a taste of what it might be like to make money for their facility. So that's what we're going to do Saturday, October 19th. Lauren Mulliken, Paralympic curler Gil Dash, Rough Riders great Bob Poley, and me going to be hosting the sports banquet up there Saturday, October the 19th. All proceeds going to the Wolseley Sportsplex because they do need a new ice plant. They've never had a new one ever in that rink. So not winning Kraft Hockeyville is at least bringing the community together in this way. By the way, the sports update brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. In Landmark Cinemas, October 4th, Joker, from acclaimed writer, director Todd Phillips, comes Joker, Folie à Deux, the much-anticipated follow-up to 2019's Academy Award-winning Joker, which earned more than $1 billion at the global box office and remains the highest-grossing R-rated film of all time. In Landmark Cinemas, October the 4th. Coming up in Hour 2, the Moose return. And we'll be talking about what you want to talk about, in a lot of ways, turning it over to you. Updating the poll results, of course. Taking a look at tonight's NHL games and the headlines there. Hey, Coach DeBuck, welcome from Cardinal Gibbons. We were talking about you earlier. This is not a Tua shirt. I've had this thing longer than Tua has even been thought of. So, yeah. All coming up after this brief pause here on Game Plus, Key Radio, and streaming.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
This former producer of major market television shows writing into us anonymously to say he just found our show on Game Plus Television. Here's some tips. The show has ADD. It's all over the place. Your sound effects are annoying. And your host is arrogant. Right on all counts. But that's what we want. That's what we wanted it to be.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. We're coming at you on live national television, Game Plus TV today. That's Canada-wide. And on the air in 31 U.S. states. Just got another note from Washington State the other day. So apparently we're very big up there. And on the radio in Atlanta. I want to hear from the audience a lot here in hour 2. I am in the South Florida studio. Dolphins home tonight to Moose's Titans. Let's bring the Moose in. He is in the Toronto studio. He's got his Every Child Matters shirt on as it is the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation across the country. And I'm going to tell everybody, get your comments in now. You can steer the ship the rest of the way. Matt Dubuck has written in, the coach of the Cardinal Gibbons Chiefs, probably the biggest CFL fan and follower in South Florida. So unless you're all going to write in, he's going to take over the chat. We can do it. But if you have hockey, NFL, anything else, right in with it. Moose, what's your recap of hour 1 or your thoughts as we kick off hour 2?
Yeah, I thought we succinctly kind of got through everything in hour 1, or a lot. You kind of just had a footnote on that Alabama-Georgia game in the college scene, which was awesome. We were on the phone Saturday night for a little bit during the opening quarter of that game, and at that point, Alabama was laying the boots to Georgia. I didn't think it was going to be a finish, but it was, and that was a lot of fun. So if you like football, it was a great weekend.
Because he's a close friend of mine and a football coach, I'm not going to admonish Coach DeBuck like I would with any other regular members of the Rod Squad. But he has written in and says, what's up in Vancouver? BC is too talented to lose like this. Well, we did a deep dive in hour one. The entire second segment was on the Canadian Football League. And then we brought in Paul LaPolice from the CFL on TSN and answered all these questions. And so, but Coach DeBuck, I'm sure, was coaching or teaching or doing something like that. Basically, what he said, Coach, was that it's not all on Nathan Rourke. They're 2-4 under Nathan Rourke since he came back from the NFL. He put some of it on the defense and how they couldn't stop the hot-handed Bo Levi Mitchell the other night under the top, the orange top at BC Place. But he also suggested maybe it's time for a quarterback change back to Vernon Adams. My guy Brent from Wellington, Florida, writes in. He says, hey, Rod, happy to have you in Serena last night. That ribeye, Chicago medium, never had a chance. Oh, I cleaned that thing up. I was licking the plate in Wellington, Florida. He was cooking the steaks last night. It was Wagyu beef. It's better than that 4A Alberta beef they were telling us about, Moose. Remember that a few years ago? We were talking about Brent an hour ago. He said his office mates, the people down there that work for him, they all are really loving the RP show and the increased NFL talk. And, of course, a lot of hockey talk as well. I said that we will take all and sundry. We're opening up the comments, Darren. They're all coming in. They're answering. For once, they're actually taking guidance. Write it down. September 30th, 2024. Maybe it's because we're streaming live on Facebook. There's something new here today. Utah, Darren writes in and says, I hope to see Snoop Huntley do well tonight. We knew him as Tyler when he played at Utah. Hope he has had time to get into the playbook and get to know his new receivers. Great kid. He's talking about one of two Monday night games tonight. The Dolphins home to the Titans, the Seahawks at the Lions. Our poll question, Clark, can you update the stats on that? The poll question is, which is the sexier of the Monday night games? Tennessee at Miami here or Seattle at Detroit? Up there. It's like over 70% were voting for the Seahawks and the Lions, and it shocked me. What are they saying, Clark? What do you got for a number there? %71% on both Facebook and YouTube saying the Seattle-Detroit game is sexier. I don't see it, but that's just me. A lifetime of being that fish swimming upstream, different from everybody else. Can you hit the quick six show horn, Director Jordan? I just want to tell everybody because they weren't here an hour ago. Because you weren't here an hour ago. This is what we talked about. NFL Week 4, statement games. Washington appears to be all that. Minnesota is definitely all that. The Jaguars, The Bucks are all that. The Eagles, What are we learning through 4 weeks, the opening month of the NFL season? We talked about that. NHL preseason. And listen, it is the NHL preseason. Just saying it out loud made me realize it's not that important. But Brent from Wellington, Florida, and I will be going to the Flames, the Lightning and the Panthers tonight, 7 p.m. at American Bank Arena. This is what I took away from NHL radio this morning, hearing Bill Daly on there with our dogs, Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellett. There may be a change to the preseason. Some teams like the Panthers are playing 8 games. Some teams like the Canucks are playing 6. I can't believe that's a thing, but it is. Expansion. There's interest, but nothing concrete. That's about as far as I'm willing to go down that road. CFL Week 17. We spent 30 minutes on the Canadian Football League. Point 4, the Blue Jays season is over, thankfully. And there's a very exciting doubleheader today, Mets at the Braves. And the results kind of depend on who's going to the postseason and who doesn't. Point 5, Monday Night Football. We talked about those games. And then point 6, President's Cup, which I very proudly did not watch a second of. All these things going on, and you want me to follow golf? You clearly don't know me very well. Kim in Calgary writes in, and I'm not sure, Kim, if you're a male or a female. Please let me know. But Kim says, Rod, can we talk a little Stampeders right now? I'm wondering if it's time for Calgary Sports and Entertainment Corporation to sell the Stampeders. Murray Edwards doesn't care much about his team, and I believe his ownership has been bad. This is what I'm willing to say about that. And I did ask for audience participation, and we have a lot of viewers in Calgary. We have a lot of sponsors in Calgary as well, primarily my favorite one of them all, Overtime Hockey Lanes. If it starts at the top, and let's just take the Flames out of it and talk purely about the Calgary Stampeders. What year was it that CSEC bought the... It's been well over a decade, I'm sure. Yeah, it has. I want to say 08, 09? Been a long time. Darren, that one conglomerate, it's like what's going on in Toronto. One company owns every team. I don't like it. But it's happened. And they often complain to me, my Stampeders friends, about how there's no money spent on marketing. There's no money spent on anything. We're the afterthought here. The Flames are the big dog. And I believe that. But they always seem to win in that scenario with John Huffnagel running the show. Do we now finally say, Kim seems to be tying the fact that the Stampeders are the worst team in the CFL, and don't tell me they aren't, because they are, to ownership? I don't feel like we can do that today. I don't.
Yeah, I don't either. I just don't. There's too many variables, and I don't know that ownership, are you saying ownership was responsible for all those great years in Calgary and all these teams too? You got to give them the resources. There's a lot of things you have to do, and it's not just on ownership, but the building, all these amenities, things like that to attract free agents, making sure the coaching staff, the GMs, they have adequate resources, all the rest. But no, I don't know if we can do that right now. It's a way bigger deep dive, and there's a lot more to it.
Anyway, I mean, having said all that, Kim, by the way, thank you for answering. She is a female. I get that you care so much. Jeff, the Stands fan, watches this show every day because nobody in that town even talks about the Stampeders. For whatever reason, they don't. I don't know why. Jeff says probably 15 years anyways. So they've owned the team for a long time. They've won Grey Cups in 2014, 2018. Do I think they should sell the team? Yes. They've been trying. But that's part of why I don't follow. No, I follow the CFL stuff, but I don't report on it anymore. I wasn't very popular in Calgary when I reported that they had a owner found. You know this. Darren knows everything. No secrets with me and Darren. That they had an owner found for the Stampeders. I reported that, and I don't think my report caused it to fall through, but it did fall through. Because I know for a fact the Flames were very upset at me that I reported it. I don't need that, especially when I know it was true. So all I'm saying is they are, I believe, actively trying to find a buyer, but they haven't got the terms yet that they like, so they continue to own the team. I don't, the inside of things not for me. Well, Kim goes on to say, how many former Stampeders play as starters for other teams? Oh, history repeats itself. The 90s Stampeders, which, by the way, it's 1:11 Eastern. And that's my bell, very conveniently, is the Stampeders. 1:11.
Beautiful.
I'm spending way too much time on this, but it is a topic I'm passionate about and do know something about. Yeah, there's starters on every team. But guess what? How many Calgary Flames are playing around the league? Matthew Tkachuk here, Sam Bennett here. That's not a Calgary thing. That is a winning team thing, right? Falero, Lemonade, however you say his name, in Toronto. Bo Levi, you said goodbye to him. But what are you getting at, Kim? What are you getting at? You want a reason why your team's in last place. This is what I will tell you. You're lucky you had to wait this long because we've all had to live it. You haven't till now. That's what I think. Winning teams get rated. Coaching staff, players. Thoughts, Aaron, before we move on?
That's typically how it goes. Winning organizations, you're right, get rated because everybody wants to get paid. And, winning teams win because everybody fits in a certain way and everybody will grow out of their position and out of their role and leave. It's typically how it works. And Calgary was blessed by being really good for a long time. And now you're going to have a little bit
and
of
their
a
fans,
stretch.
Yeah, their fans can't deal with losing. So, sorry, it's reality. I meant to say this last hour. I'll say it now. I did a lot of recovery work on the weekend. I told Darren this morning. Mental health, addiction recovery. And I was dealing, I don't mind saying this, completely anonymous work, but I had a parent came to me about their child and basically said that child has never faced one consequence their whole life. Yep. How's that going to work out for you? Now, into that person's 40s, we're going to have them face consequences. Oh, this is going to be tough. But the choice is you're going to die. And that's my other world is life or death. Talk about that all the time here. Stampeders being in last place. Somebody die? No. Deal with it. You've never dealt with it. You should consider yourself lucky. George in Winnipeg writes in and says, hey, Rod, Moose should learn to just follow your lead when betting on Blue Bombers games. LOL. Well, he admitted last hour he only picked Edmonton because he was trying to get a leg up on me in our pick pool. That's his fault. Brian in Hudson's Bay writes in, and he says, the Miami and Titans game could qualify for the early season toilet bowl. I'll be watching the Lions and Seahawks for sure. My Vikings 4-0. Never seen this coming. Have a good one. Can we take a moment and just acknowledge this for a second? All the time spent on reading the previews and the analysts, the analytics, the pundits on where everybody had the Vikings and the NFC North. There was not one person. I don't think the Vikings thought they would be where they are. Like they are the story. Do we see it continuing? If they stay healthy, maybe, but even then I don't. You?
I do. I see it continuing. Sam Darnold, it takes a certain amount of time for quarterbacks to mature. That's the 2018 draft. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson are already doing that. And now you're seeing Sam Darnold play well. And Baker's part of that draft class too. Like it takes some time, to get to the point where, you're at the right spot. And also, we talk about individuals in relationships, right? And two great people find each other. But when you're not compatible, you're not compatible, right? Well, you got a coach in Minnesota who's really compatible with Sam Darnold as a quarterback. And when you find two people that are compatible on an offensive scheme to a quarterback, it can enhance your abilities and take you to the next level. And this seems like a great match. So I think it's going to continue. They got playmakers. They're protecting the football. And Brian Flores' defense is playing really well. I don't think this is a fluke.
I'm more than happy. My point on that is just nobody saw it coming. And there's just analysts getting paid millions of dollars to make predictions, and they are no better than the weathermen and weather women. Bad monkey. I'm Heather with the weather. Squirrel.
Heather with the weather, and that's the weather.
Yeah. John Ohm says, blame free agency on player movements. Can do that. Coach DeBuck, who's still watching, he says it happens at our level here. Yeah, you get rated by other teams. That was my whole point when I said 90s Stampeders. I was with Saskatchewan at the time, so I saw it firsthand. Who'd we steal from you? Roy Shivers, Danny Barrett, Henry Burris, Ray Jacobs, Eddie Davis. And over the next 5, 6, 7 years, Alondra Johnson. Everybody was coming over to the chill. Fred Childress. I mean, it happened then, and you guys went in the toilet. What changed? You got a quarterback, Henry Burris. And I don't think you got a quarterback in Jake Mayer. It's a player thing. Not an ownership thing. Not right now. Good discussion, though. Brent in Wellington, Florida says Minnesota is the Kurt Warner story, 2024-25. A month in. Can we just pump the brakes here 1 second? And I also want to say, at my friend's suggestion, Chris from the Bronx, we started the show The Penguin. Have you watched The Penguin? It's on HBO.
No, but I've seen the preview.
Yeah. It's really good. It's
Okay,
good. Well, Brent's kid, RJ, wants to watch The Penguin now. I'm like, I wouldn't. I mean, it's on HBO. It's not a porn or anything, but it's like pretty gross stuff in terms of the killing. You know, stuff that's on TV now, I wouldn't have been able to sleep when I was RJ's age if I'd seen this stuff on TV. But now it's just, what a guy got his head cut off. Oh, well. I'll pass me my steak, please. One more. Mark in Melfort writes in. He says, the Utah Hockey Club has unveiled their new concession prices, and they're some of the lowest in the NHL. Water, $2. Popcorn, $3. Nachos, $3. Hot dogs, $3. Well, when 5,000 of the seats in the rink, you can't even see the other net, you better do something for those people. We'll be right back. We're live on the Game Plus television network. WQEE Radio streaming live on YouTube and Facebook today, Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The 80s Club, live in Moose Jaw. Honeymoon Suite, along with a flock of seagulls. Men without hats. And spoons. All together for one night at Moose Jaw Event Center, Saturday, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at sastix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
All right, welcome back. I appreciate the viewers and listeners answering the bell. Ding. And we can get into a lot of the Week 4 NFL stuff, too. I'm in the South Florida studio. Dolphins home to the Titans tonight. Panthers home to the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's where I'll be with my guy, Brent, from Wellington, Florida. The Moose is in Toronto, where absolutely nothing's going on. Sorry, Moose, I'm joking. But the Blue Jays are... Yeah, well, today. There's nothing going on today. That's all. From the audience, I'd like to read you. I asked them to write in, and they have answered the bell. 902-518-3033 is the text line here, or the YouTube feed. Rhonda writes in from Swift Current, and she says, thank God the Jays are done. So tired of seeing Vladdy try to hit homers when a single would do, or when someone does make a good play, they show Vladdy, who had nothing to do with the play. Like Serena knows, I'm now cheering for anyone but the evil empire. Her and Serena used to play ball together, by the way. Rhonda Colescog from Swift Current, just throwing that out there. So on the baseball vein, I got a few things I'd like to throw your way. Sorry for the pun. Sorry, not sorry. Here's one. The Major League Baseball playoffs are approaching, and a Shohei Ohtani versus Aaron Judge matchup in the World Series looms as an exciting October possibility. The rooting interests of baseball fans vary wildly, but there is little doubt MLB and television executives are drooling over the potential matchup between two of the top sluggers of this generation. Oh, dare to dream. Maybe they're manifesting it in the MLB offices. Shohei versus Aaron Judge. That would be awesome. So I'm excited for the baseball playoffs. There's a doubleheader today in Atlanta, the Braves and the Mets, deciding who goes on, who gets kicked out. What did I say? The Yankees are my playoff rooting interest. Sorry, Rhonda, but it is. I love the dun, 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 dun. I love the cold Yankee Stadium and the NYFD hats, and I love it, man. I don't, all year long, I don't cheer for them, but if they're in the playoffs, that's my team, and it's cool scenes. How about you?
I'm with you. And as a kid, like I played a little baseball, but baseball wasn't a big deal. Didn't play a lot of it. Once we hit a certain age, like even like 13 or 14, there wasn't enough kids interested in ball. We didn't even have a team. But it was the same thing. Grew up watching the Canadian Football League, Friday Night Football. So what would happen? We'd get so excited, me and my brother, during the game that we'd go out in the backyard and I'd be Danny McManus throwing the football to Darren Flutie and whatever else. We'd have fun. Same thing with October baseball. Didn't really follow all year, kind of knew what was going on. But come October, I was Mike Mussina throwing a fastball, up against the fence, pretending I was, on the mound in the 7th inning of Game 3. It's what October baseball does for fans. And there's so many good teams in it and stars, like you mentioned. It's going to be fun.
By the way, just hang on, Jeremy in Winnipeg. He's all up about, he's a big Chiefs fan, Kansas City Chief. So he's all up in arms about Rashee Rice and his knee injury. Just hang on, Jeremy. Slow your roll a little bit. Not talking about that. With the her comment about Vladdy, it's interesting she says that because we watched all the Blue Jays games when they were contending the last few years, and quite a few this year until they bowed out because I was in Moose Jaw all summer. I was on TV every night. You just look at Vladdy. What did Mike Wilner say from the Deep Left Field podcast, so I've got a lot of respect for? he's a cornerstone player. You don't let a guy like that get away. 4-time All-Star before the age of 25. Led the American League in home runs. Could he be a little more serious? I think what the fans don't know, and I even get sucked into this a little bit too, we don't know. You see them 3 hours a day on your TV. You don't see them the other 21. Is he a leader? Is he a good guy? Sounds like Mike Wilner would know more than any of us. He's around the team every day. You know, you don't let go the Sidney Crosbys, the Alex Ovechkins, the Patrick Mahomeses, the Tom Bradys, unless your own ego gets in the way. You know what I mean? Vladdy gets a lot of guff, and I just feel like it's not deserved. You're in Toronto. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and I mean, there was a bit of a slow start to the year, but he continues to find a way to produce. He's got that ability. Do we need it to be more consistent? Yes. But also when a team struggles, we look for reasons as to why they're struggling. Well, it's because they're goofing around in the dugout. We need them to be more serious. No, that's not necessarily why they're struggling, because they have a home run jacket or they celebrate the home runs and things like that. Everybody's got to pull their weight. They need to have a strong supporting cast around him. You know, even when the Jays were good, really good, you know, and Jose Bautista was getting it done. But it wasn't just Bautista alone. Edwin Encarnacion was there and Josh Donaldson was there. There was a cast of guys around that got it done. One player doesn't win a World Series ever.
And who was the skipper? Oh, yeah, John Gibbons. And who was the general manager? Oh, yeah, Alex Anthopoulos. And they got rid of those guys.
Yeah.
So I just wouldn't be, when I say they, I don't even mean the Blue Jays. I mean Mark Shapiro. And then his buddy Ross Atkins. But you know what? I don't want to put myself in a bad mood here. This is kind of funny. Jeremy writes in from Winnipeg. He's the Chiefs fan. I told him to slow his roll. This isn't the Chiefs show. And he goes, sorry, Rod, I'll slow my roll when Mahomes is gone and we're back to irrelevant. Patrick Mahomes is going to be around for at least 10 years. He's the Troy Aikman of this generation. I get a kick out of this whole thing. As you know, Troy's my guy. He will always be my guy. And remember when they were comparing Mahomes to Troy Aikman? And Aikman's like, get back to me when he's got 3 Super Bowl rings. Well, he does now, Troy, so what do you think about him? You know, it's not much he can say about that. Troy I was talking to another Cowboys fan the other day. Isn't it interesting when you find birds of a feather flock together? Who was this guy? I was with a Cowboys fan the other day, and we compared notes. How long you been a Cowboys fan? How long you been a Cowboys fan? Right? How did you get through those times? I want to say Troy was with the Cowboys about 89 to 02. That sounds about right.
It was at your meeting when you were wearing your Cowboys quarter zip.
No, that was another time. That was literally another time last week. Yeah, that was Thursday night. I wore a lot of Cowboys stuff last week. We won, okay? Can't wear it that often. And I was thinking about this today. I don't feel like I will ever move off the Cowboys. I'm wearing the Dolphins shirt today because it pops, and they're home tonight. Let's get real. I've said it many times. Why do I wear the colors that I do on this show? I want somebody to walk into a sports bar that we're on the television and go, oh, what are they talking about? You know what I mean? Leave the TV to me. I'll do the talking. You folks all do the watching. 902-518-3033. And by the way, the Flying Hawaiian Chad Owens is coming up next, which, by the way, Rhonda says grow up. Are you talking to me? Hang on. Oh, she says we had the cast in place. Merrifield, Semien, Chapman, but everyone was let go. Vladdy needs to grow up. Ohtani hopefully wins the World Series. That's a thing, man. The leagues, sometimes I wonder if they know. It's always going to be on the players. If Ohtani and the Dodgers go to the World Series, the ratings will be higher than they've ever been. And you're going to be pulling in people that didn't watch baseball all year because it's a great story. So you know they're sitting there just, which reminds me, by the way, okay, perfect. Only got a couple minutes left. I've talked myself into a corner. Chad Owens, as I said earlier, is one of my favorite CFL players of all time. And forget about the fact we were together in Saskatchewan in 2017. When he was on the other team, I loved watching him play. There's just something about him. And now I can't even think of who they have in the league that would even, there is nobody that would compare to Chad Owens. That's why he's a Hall of Famer. But I think everybody loved Chad Owens. I know you did.
Yeah. You can't compare anybody in the league, and I know fans will try because there are great returners in the league, guys who are explosive. There are great playmakers, receivers, but he did it all, right? Great receiver. He was the utility guy. He was a great returner, but he also had that personality too. So you can't really compare a Mario Alford to Chad Owens right now. You can't compare some of these different guys because nobody's doing it the way he did it or with the flair that he did it or, and with that personality. You can't. There is only one Chad Owens.
Or Janarian Grant, which is interesting, by the way, because we talk about the players switching teams all the time with these short contracts. Well, Chad Owens played for the Argos and the Ticats, which is akin to playing for the Flames and the Oilers, the Yankees and the Red Sox. It's not rare, but it's not common either. And then we had him in Saskatchewan too because Jones favored older guys. But by that time, even, maybe we'll ask Chad that when he comes on here. Physically, what was he by the time he came to Saskatchewan? That's why when I look at a guy like Baker Mayfield, I put Chad Owens in that category. They played they put everything on the field. They would die on the field. And I respect the hell out of that. And when it ends, it's painful for everybody. But the sooner you can pick yourself up off the field and walk away, probably helped a lot that he went into the Hall of Fame, with closing the book on a wonderful career. Do we have him? Is he ready to go after the break, Clark? Well, he's not logged in yet. Moose, you go have a great afternoon.
All right. You too.
I'm sure hoping the Flying Hawaiian Chad Owens joins us next. That's the scheduled time, and he's pretty good with that. We'll be right back here on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, streaming live on YouTube and Facebook today, and also podcast form at Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Hi, my name's Logan Stanko.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, join the Rod Squad newsletter today. Stay ahead of the game with exclusive insights, updates, contests, and exclusive content delivered straight to your inbox. Sign up for free today at rodpedersen.com. Well, I couldn't wait to get this guy on the air, Chad Owens. I've said it many times. I've told him to his face. He's my favorite CFLer of all time. Chad Owens joining us now, a Canadian Football Hall of Famer. How's that feel, my guy?
Rod, what's up, man? How you doing? Aloha from Hawaii.
I'm doing great. Hey, aloha, my guy. Hey, so you got back safely after going into the Hall of Fame. How does it feel to have, hang on a sec, two-time Grey Cup champion, CFL's most outstanding player in 2012, record holder for most all-purpose yards in a season, four-time All-Canadian. It's the resume of a Hall of Famer, but now you can put Hall of Famer beside that. How's it feel?
You know, I mean, everyone's asked me that question, right? And I think the answer has been, it just feels great to know that all the hard work, all the sacrifice, all the things that I chose to give up to just stay focused on my goals was all worth it. You know, when you're playing, you never, like being a Hall of Famer is never one of the goals, right? It's always been, all right, how can I outdo what I did last year? What do I need to add to my game to be more of a complete player? How can I continue to improve so that I can help this team win a championship? Like those types of things is what you think about, right? And the Hall of Fame it's sort of its thing in its own. It's like this class. It's where, you know, others put you in. You know, you never put yourself, but when you're thinking about it, when you're done playing and you start to think about it all, yeah, the thoughts cross my mind. It's like, hey, man, that would be cool. And did I do enough? You know, was it enough? Am I satisfied with my career if I don't get the call? You know, those are the types of conversations you start to have with yourself. And, you know, I'm just happy that it happened, and I can put all of that behind me and just, yeah, man, it was beautiful.
It's just a perfect footnote, or not even a final chapter, although it's not a final chapter because you're still doing something exciting now of your CFL career. How about that? But Jim Barker said last week, he goes, Chad Owens won me the Coach of the Year in 2012. That was that the greatest year of your life? Like, that was a special year, 2012 with the Argos. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, you know, it was, and I think, well, Coach Barker, man, I think he might have got that in 2010, 2011, because, I mean, Scott Milanovic was our head coach in 2012. I have to just put that out there. So 2012, when we won the Grey Cup, Scott Milanovic was the head coach. I think Jim Barker got the Coach of the Year in 2010. But besides that, you know, Jim Barker, Scott Milanovic, Ricky Ray. I mean, there's so many pieces, so many people that you can put into this puzzle that without those pieces, Chad Owens and what I did in Toronto and what I did in the CFL doesn't happen. Right? Let's just be honest. Like, it's not an individual sport. This isn't boxing, you know. So you need those pieces around you to help you go to those certain places, right? And but yeah, I mean, it was a special time, man. I just remember after tearing my ACL in 2008 in the Arena Football League, post NFL, the only thing I wanted to do was play football. I wasn't thinking about it as a business. I wasn't thinking about it as a way of life, making money. I just wanted to go back to having fun, doing what I love to do. And that was my mindset. And so getting to the CFL for the first time in 2009 in Montreal, that gave me a chance to really see the game, learn the game. They were the best team at the time. They were the franchise team. And I got to witness greatness on a daily basis. And so, I was fortunate to have that as a rookie in the CFL. And I just took that to Toronto when I got there, and, everything sort of unfolded the way it did. But what an incredible ride, man.
Well, forgive me. I'm getting old, clearly. But when you left Montreal after 2009 and went to Toronto, was that simply they didn't have, I'm sure I've asked you this before, I just don't remember. They didn't have room for you in Montreal? Or how do you not stay in Montreal?
I mean, that's just it. They had their guys, right? They were locked in. They were back-to-back champs. They had a lot of veterans. They had their squad. I mean, that's just when you learn, when you talk about business, that's just the nature of the business of pro football, pro sports. So I wasn't cracking that roster. And so I actually went into Jim Pop's office post preseason training camp, and I asked to be released because I knew that at that point I was ready to play. I knew that I needed to play. And so I asked to be released, and he wasn't going to release me. So he put me on the trade block, and Toronto picked me up in a trade. So that's how it happened. I don't think a lot of people know that, but that's how it happened. And, again, I that's just me being who I was my entire life, believing in myself, believing in my ability, and knowing what I'm capable of. And the feeling inside that wasn't sitting well with me that I was not going to be able to play that year. I put in so much hard work that previous offseason because I was healthy and I was ready to go. And it showed in Toronto when I got there.
I'm glad I asked. I didn't know that. I'll tell you something, though, Chad. I could count, I don't even need this full hand to count players that were on other teams when I was with the Rough Riders for all those years that I respected and just loved playing. You, G. Roy, Anthony Calvillo, probably Charleston Hughes. That's about it. I didn't like anybody else, but I just respected the hell out of you. Why do you think the fans across the CFL love you and still love you as much as they do?
I think it's just the passion I brought to the game. I mean, who doesn't love Hawaii, right? I come from a place that's so special. I think I brought that aloha spirit. I think the game spoke for itself. My passion, my relentlessness, my mindset, the plays I made on the field. But I think when you got to hear me off the field, you got to see me interact. You got to see the Chad Owens, the person, not the player. I think that's what people fall in love with. And I love people coming from Hawaii. We absolutely love people, and we love spreading that aloha spirit and that positivity. And so I think that's just the energy that I gave off. It's an exciting, positive, aloha, and I believe that was the key. And to all the fans, man, across the league that do, you have your teams, but you support Chad Owens, and you've done that. I appreciate you, and I love you. Thank you so much for everything.
But that's what I mean. Once I got to know you when you came to Sask in 2017, you're the same guy off the field as you are on. That's why I think they love you. It's pretty clear you wear your heart right there. You're not hiding anything, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I grew up, I didn't have the most glamorous upbringing. It was a struggle. Broken household. You can just consider it poor. Like, I was poor. I know it's like the typical sad story. Oh, here we go. Another poor guy making out of that was me though. And I wasn't just poor. and with a struggling upbringing, I was undersized. I was, the odds were stacked all the way against me to become a professional athlete, and the way I had to go about doing it on my young athletic career, like I was always one of the best players on my sports teams. Didn't matter what sport I was playing, but I was never that consistent all-star pick, right? In little leagues, like, you go the big boys, this guy's got so much potential. He backs it up with play, but my play was there, but I just never had the size. So they just looked at it as he's not gonna go very far anyway. So, I always had to fight that uphill battle. And so that chip on my shoulder, you talked about wearing my heart on my sleeve, that's something that just got programmed in me since I was a kid. And even to this day, I'm a Hall of Famer, yes, but I'm still chipping away at the next thing. I'm still trying to prove myself and want to prove myself. That's the thing. Like, I'll never settle regardless of the amount of success I achieve or the goals I knock down. Like, my mind is always in that young athlete, that young Chad Owens, where someone or the coaches or the voters or whatever, you're not good enough. Like, that's just in me. And so I'm going to continue to be that way. 'Cause that's how I'm wired.
It's been a pleasure to know you and Weston Dressler the way that I do. I'm sure your story is very similar. So, and I will implore the Canadian Football Hall of Fame voters, please don't ever make it easy to get in. It's not, and don't ever let it be easy to get in because of stories like this. Let me just, I guess, one more. Tell the folks what you're doing now, because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, recently, about a month ago, prior to coming up to Toronto to do the Hall of Fame, I got my IFBB Pro card in bodybuilding, and that's something that's really cool. I've been lifting weights since I was 14 years old. Yeah, it was for football, it was for sports, it was to become a better athlete. But I've got that foundation of muscle maturity from doing it for so long. And it was a natural transition because I absolutely love the gym. I love training and I love competing, so being able to still have a purpose when I go to the gym, there's a reason why I'm doing this. Every set, every rep, it all matters for the ultimate goal. And I just love having that level of focus and attention to detail when I'm in there. It gives me something to think about when I'm tired or when you're not feeling like it. When in those moments you think about the goal, you think about the other guy that's not missing this or not missing that. It's the same thing that wired me when I was a football player. Why am I doing these hill sprints? Why am I doing these the running? Why am I doing this? It's because of that. And you envision your competition, and and then when you get to the point where you're training in the off season, where you know that the other person, they're not doing this. So you start to visualize yourself having that edge. And you start to visualize yourself getting to the game day and winning that rep, scoring that game-winning touchdown because you did everything else that you knew that they weren't doing. So that's how my mind works. And that's what drives me to continue to push the limits of what I'm capable of. And that's why I'm doing it, man. And I'm enjoying it. I actually what's exciting is that I have my pro debut November 16th right here at home at the Sean Ray Hawaiian Classic. It's a dream come true because a lot of times people have to travel, especially from Hawaii. You have to go travel to the mainland and to do these shows, and flights, water retention, it all plays a role in your peak for the show day. And being that I'm going to be able to stay here, stay home, be comfortable, I can't ask for anything more. And it's a 2025 Mr. Olympia qualifier, which is like I'm going to say it this way, the Grey Cup of bodybuilding, right? I was going to say Super Bowl, but we're in the CFL, baby.
I don't doubt you'll win that too. Oh man, it's so much fun getting an update. I always love talking to you, Chad. So congratulations on everything, and can't wait to see you again.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rod. I see you rocking that Dolphin shirt. Go Tua. Team Tua.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one tonight. It's going to be a good one tonight. without Tua. The great Chad Owens joining us from Hawaii, Hall of Famer. We'll be back with Overtime right after this, live on Game Plus TV, E-Radio, live on YouTube and Facebook today, and of course, Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Just a shorty here for Overtime, brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes. I did put a big post out on my personal Instagram and Facebook today about Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Serena and I wholeheartedly darn tootin' and give a ringing endorsement to Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. It's an amusement park for hockey players. Take my word for it. 28th Street Northeast. What a day in sports, good and bad. Here's the bad news. Basketball Hall of Famer Dikembe Mutombo, one of the best defensive players in NBA history and a longtime global ambassador for the game, died today from brain cancer. The NBA announced he was 58. You talk about, listen, you young kids don't get this. The older ones will. these things happen, and you examine your own mortality. Because I remember I was living in PA, and the Minnesota Timberwolves were playing the Atlanta Hawks at an NBA preseason game at Sask Place in about 93. And we heard these commercials on the radio. Come watch the Timberwolves and Dikembe Mutombo, an intimidating four against the Atlanta Hawks. We went down there. There he was. All 7'2" of them or whatever the hell he was. First time I'd ever watched the NBA live, and I'm like, that's cool. That's where I became a fan because of a guy like this. Dies today at brain cancer. 31 years ago, we did that. The Atlanta Braves are hosting the New York Mets today in a doubleheader to decide the final two NL wildcard spots a day after the scheduled end of the regular season. The unusual twin bill was acquired after 2 games between the NL Eastern rivals were washed out last week as Hurricane Helen wreaked destruction across the southeastern U.S. Meanwhile, tonight, Monday Night Football, the Seahawks will be looking to improve to 4-0 when they visit the 2-1 Detroit Lions. In the other game, the 1-2 Miami Dolphins host the 0-3 Tennessee Titans. That's our poll question. You got 22 hours to vote on it. What's the sexier of the 2 games? For me, it's clearly Titans and Dolphins. Mike McEwen earned a measure of revenge, and Rachel Holman was a repeat winner in curling's Points Bet Invitational on Sunday. That went down in Calgary. Mike McEwen lost to Brad Gushu in the Brier final last year. Ask him which one he'd rather have. Sports Update brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. Get more of what you love from Landmark Extras. Free movies and concession items, invites to exclusive screenings, special events, and more. There are 3 rewarding programs to choose from. Just check them all out at landmarkcinemas.com today and sign up and tell them the RP Show sent you. Thanks to Chad Owens. Thanks to Paul LaFelice. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Can't wait for it. Enjoy the games tonight, everybody. Be safe.
Who has more fun than us?